Good morning. Welcome to day 2 of the challenge. I am probably about 30 seconds early because I am excited. So I will wait a moment. Give me some love if you're there. I can see over on the other page, Linda, Robin, Kirsten have joined, which is awesome. Rebecca, how are you? Oh my gosh. All right. Good morning. All right, so people are here. Now I like to reward good behavior and people being on time, so I won't hold off. I will get started. So yesterday, for day 1 of the Speak Up and Be Visible challenge, we had a conversation around fear and belief. And I don't want to sit you all back in fear or anything again, but just a quick review. We did touch on the fact that you don't ever truly get belief and that knowledge that something is doable until it's actually done. So sometimes we do need to take those leaps of faith. And we also looked at the body response and why we sometimes have that freeze, fear or flight when we are about to take action, because it's the little security part of our brain just wanting to keep us safe. So for those that have registered, we also have the courage audio, and there was some amazing shares and ahas in the Chicks That Mean Business Facebook group. So thank you so far for those that have been playing full out, and let's get into day 2. So today we are going to have a look at courage and purpose. So kind of the flip side of what we looked at. And then we're going to talk about values, because all of these things, when we sort of link them all up together, they're going to give you the momentum to work past any of the fear that is showing up. Plus day 3, 4 and 5, we are going to take some more affirmative actions to move past anything that is holding us back. So courage comes after fear, funnily enough. But what is courage? So like yesterday, little word nerd here, I've got all of my dictionary definitions. So courage, the ability to do something that frightens one, which is bravery, strength in the face of pain or grief. So courage comes after fear, comes after pain. It's the action, it's the emotion that propels you forward to do the thing. So then you get the belief around whatever it is in the outcome that you're looking to create. So purpose. What is purpose? The reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. And when we tie purpose into our business, we can really use that to really propel us forward, because when we have a bigger purpose, and I know not everyone does right now and people are still looking into it, but when we have a bigger purpose and it's bigger than us and it allows us to step out of our ego, that is another great way for us to be able to find our voice and to be able to start showing up online. So for those that weren't here yesterday, and haven't actually sort of seen this before, because I'm being visible and sharing this on my personal page, personal profile, as well as here on the business page, we were talking about a lot of people feel very uncomfortable about really speaking up about their purpose and their passion and their work, except for in the safety of Facebook groups. And we know that if we really want to create the big change that many of us want to do, we have to start propelling our energy and our message and our voice out, not keeping it in our safe little spaces online. But we know that this can take some courage, right? See how it's all tying in? So when we are on the right track, things do become a lot easier, and it does become easier to push through those fears when we recognize the body response that sabotages us and stops us from taking the action. And I'm going to be honest here, it doesn't matter what level you play at, it's still going to be there. It's still something that you have to keep working through, and you have to make that commitment within yourself to keep going. And from a purpose thing, and this ties in with values, which we're going to be talking a little bit about today as well. When I step out of me and my own little space around me, and I think about that bigger picture that I have for myself, it creates huge momentum. And for those that might be interested, on the business page live, I've linked up my Udemy course, which can teach you about how to find your purpose. I've got it down to 3 keywords, which is educate, entertain, and inspire. Now, I have a lot of people tell me I'm inspirational. I love to educate. I love to teach. And I have a bit of an entertaining streak around me as well. So playful and fun, purpose-driven, this sums up who I am. And when you can tap into that, the fear that can come from sharing a message and speaking up can be actually minimized. So how do we use it to drive us forward and past the discomfort? We understand our body response. We do the work around really studying what it is and really learning and embodying everything that we're doing. Now, Audrey is saying here, my purpose is our purpose. You might need to explain that a little bit more for me, Audrey, just so I can understand that. But when we use all of this and then tie this into our values, one of the biggest things, and this is something that I've told quite a few clients, is when we're able to step out of our ego and see what it is that we want to do and create, and see that it's bigger than us as an individual, suddenly it becomes a heck of a lot easier to actually start speaking up. So who here, give me some love on the post, or type in yes if you have done work around values before. So if you know what your beautiful values are, there's actually 2 kinds of values. So there's golden values and shadow values, as I've been taught to work with values. So the golden values are the values that we show the world. So compassion, trust, respect, you know, all of those good values, right? So for me, trust, respect, and integrity are really, really high values for me. And it shows up in the work that I do and how I work with people. If I don't trust you, how can I respect you? Integrity for me is like living to your word and doing what you say that you will do. But there's also shadow values. Now, even with the name, people think that shadow values are bad, but when I started doing work around my shadow values, a lot of stuff really locked in for me. And when you can look at your shadow values without shame, fear, or guilt, and just accept them for what they are, your shadow values can actually be the thing that really propels you forward. As my mentor says, you know, 1% of the population generally achieve what they really want to do with their financial goals. And the one thing that these people all have in common is they've really embraced the shadow. So, you know, if you ignore your shadow values, you're only living a life that's half fulfilled. And when I stopped feeling like I had to be the good girl and had to live only to golden values, I was able to really start speaking up and really create a life that really fulfilled me completely, because there was no shame, fear, or guilt around anything that I was doing. So when you live to your values, you live to fulfilled. So who here's done work with shadow values before? Give me a yes or a no or a curious, want to know more. Because what we'll do, we'll talk a bit about values, and then we'll talk how you can link all of that to then take it to the next level to be able to move forward. So and if we can increase that percentage, well, let's see if we can, Audrey. All right, shadow values. So I've got my notes here, so don't mind me. I'm just going to read them out, make sure I get them all. I love doing work with clients on shadow values because it's such an eye-opener. Dan, I'm going to share those shadow values with you. Now, here's the top 7. Now, they're in no particular order. So while I'm going through this, what I'd actually really love you to do is just feel which one has a charge around it, like one that makes you go, oh yeah, that really sounds like me, and write them down. Because once I've read them out, I'll see if you can pick which ones mine are. that might be funny. All right, now remember, you put them in the order that's important to you. These are not listed in any particular order. So attention, which is being unique, different, or special. Belonging, being accepted by, connected to, or feeling a part of a community. Control, being able to influence your circumstances, your territory, yourself, or others. Sexuality, being able to express your sexual desires and or preferences shamelessly. Superiority, being right, being better than yourself and or others. Validation, being important, worthy, and or good enough. And money, being wealthy and or having power to do whatever you want. So let me just click onto the new comments. Sometimes my monitor seems to really struggle. Sorry, there's I can't read the comments. Oh, here we go. All right. Not sure what you mean by shadow values. Awesome. So I've just read through them. If anyone wants to type in the comments what their shadow values are, you are more than welcome. Which ones resonate? I'll read them again. Attention, being unique, different, or special. Belonging, being accepted by, connected to, or feeling part of a community. Control, being able to influence your circumstances, your territory, yourself, and or others. Sexuality, being able to express your sexual desires and or preferences shamelessly. Superiority, being right, being better than yourself and or others. Validation, being important, worthy, and or good enough. Money, being wealthy and or having the power to do whatever you want. Now, I was taught these by Authentic Education. I do believe there's been a little update, and there might be a couple of more that have since been added since I've done this course. So my apologies, I have not yet reset this course and have the updated version, but this is a good start. So I'll tell you what mine are. Attention is a big one. Control is a big one, and superiority is a big one. I like to be the smartest person. Nothing wrong with that, because what that actually does is drives me to keep learning and to be better than myself the day before. So suddenly when you're looking at these values, it's not so bad because it's self-driven and it's an internal thing that keeps driving me, which means the more I learn, the more my clients learn. The more I have to give to the people that are working with me. So all of a sudden, there's no shame, fear, guilt, or worry about owning that, right? Attention. So being a unique individual is very, very important to me. And control. I do like to be in control. Nothing wrong with that. So have a little think. Teresa's like, all of them to some degree. Control is massive for Robin. Look, you're going to have little flickers of all of them, but you want to pick which ones are really like, yeah. So I've picked those top 3 straight away. Like, I just know that they're mine. The attention thing is really great for when I was running my other business and facilitating live and dressing up as different faculty, because you need to be able to handle the attention. So that's actually a good shadow value to embrace. Now, until we embrace the shadow, it's always going to have power over us. And this is why I really, really wanted to share this with you today. If you, belonging, control, sexuality, control, and a couple of others, all right, so you can start to see the power of these, right? So if we let these things overpower us, and stop us from doing what we want to do. If we shroud these things in fear, shame, and guilt, how are we going to be able to fully step up and be visible online and speak our truth? Now, it's especially interesting for a lot of women that I work with, because we're so indoctrinated in the good girl principles. We have to be polite. We have to toe the line. We can't get too much attention. And I love that these things are actually changing. But a lot of these things will shift a lot more powerfully when we embrace it for what it is and look at it from an internal way of how it drives us. Because when we can laugh at our shadow values, and we have our gold and we have our shadow, and when we can bring those to a space of neutrality and balance, A, we're going to feel so much more fulfilled within ourselves. But B, if people say things or don't agree with what we say, or any of those things that we hold in fear when it comes to speaking up, all of a sudden, it's water off a duck's back. Those things cease to matter. And the good girl stories that tell us that we have to be polite, it's really funny. I started building a course probably about 18 months ago called Bye Bye Good Girl Stories, but then the saboteur kicked in and I didn't end up building it. But when we can let that go, all of a sudden our voice is so much stronger. So much stronger. And then what you'll find quite often is the shadow actually connects and is supported by your golden values anyway. So I've got a beautiful friend, I don't know if Mary Lou's watching, but she loves gratitude and appreciation. She loves it. If she has a shadow value where she also wants attention, that then ties into appreciation. Because to get attention, you need to be valued and you need to be appreciated. So they start to cross over with your positive golden values that you like to share with the world. Now, this is a bit more of a complicated process. You can do a whole elicitation, you can which we don't have time for today. But if you want to link your values, I've got a little example here. I've got two ways that we can do it, right? And we've got a way we can link it, and there's a way that we can have a quick look in with purpose as well. So in Ben Harvey's workbook, he shares the story about a woman who was, making $500,000 a year as an actress, and she was wasting the money. So she decided she wanted to take back control of her life and her spending. And what happened in doing that, she then couldn't get past the 100K a year. She kept missing jobs by a couple of days, or things fell through, or she only ended up getting the small part. So embracing the control value actually wasn't working for her. So what we then did, or what Ben then did, sorry, taking credit for it. Oh, thanks for answering that, Jacine. What Ben then did was link it and give her back the power over her values. So if you have a control thing, right, but you're finding being in control is actually hindering you, what you want to do is handwrite a list of 300 reasons why doing the thing, like earning a certain amount of money per year, we'll just use the money example, would give you more control. Then read the list out every night before you go to bed, and then again first thing in the morning for the next week, while visualizing yourself in whatever that situation is, and then walk around feeling like you are already it. So people who do manifestation work will be very familiar with this kind of process. So when you're wanting to connect into your values and connect into your purpose and get out of your own head and out of your ego, and then allow it to be bigger for you, embrace your golden values, of course, embrace your shadow, bring them to a space of neutrality. Then you want to look at your purpose. And a really easy way to start really connecting with your purpose. Now, I've distilled it down to 3 keywords through the process in the Udemy course. But a novel way to find out what inspires you is to answer this question. If you were asleep in bed at 2 a.m. and I called you, what would I have to say for you to jump straight out of bed, get dressed and take some type of action. Because if you think of those things and then connect them back to work, to how you can influence the world, then you're on your way to being on purpose. So can you see how all of this will actually start to shift the fear, to minimize and dilute the fear, to give you momentum to start moving you forward faster, and to be able to work through any of the resistance and own what it is that you want to do and be able to start speaking up. Has anyone got any questions? I'll have a look. I'll see if I can answer them on the thing. All right. So there's one more thing that I want you to do today. Conditioning is a huge thing that holds us back. Now, in the Facebook group, we're also talking about the fears and things. So we'll start doing more work on those things on day 3 and 4. What I want you to do for me today is grab a Post-it note. And I put them all over on the table when I tied it up. Grab a little Post-it note. Now that one's one that was stuck on my monitor. Grab a Post-it note. And on the Post-it note, and if you're already my client, you would have already done this. Big chance you would have already done it. If not, sorry, I haven't taught you this yet. And write on it, I'm allowed. And stick this Post-it note on the back of your front door. So every time you leave the house, you see it. You might want to put it on your monitor, because what we want to do is start erasing years and years of conditioning that tell you that you're not allowed. And being able to speak up with confidence, you need to give yourself permission. So in school, as a child, we are taught we have to always ask for permission to go to the bathroom. Our parents tell us what we have to eat. They tell us when we have to go to bed. We don't have that independence. And when we're in those early stages and our brain is forming and our beliefs are forming, you know, we are indoctrinated in the thing that we are not allowed. We have to ask. Somebody has to give us permission. And if we're worried about partners, family, friends, and they haven't given us permission, that's another thing that holds us back, right? So I have this Post-it note on my front door, on my monitor, and on the door out of the garage. And every time I walk past it, I'm programming myself to be allowed. Because you are allowed to speak up. We just got to move past the fear and connect your values and connect your purpose. So you get that momentum to drive you forward. Plus, we're going to be doing some other cool stuff over the next 3 days. And so pop that one down. I'd love to see some photos, whether it's on the comments here when you've done it, and just leave it up there. Leave it up there. Now, there's one more thing. You can share your insights into the Chicks That Mean Business Facebook group. Share pictures of your Post-it note. Now we're starting to give ourselves permission to speak up and to really discover our purpose and own what that is. If you are in the group, use the hashtag 5DCSUBV. They're the initials. So I'm really keen to see how you go with this. Have a think about all your shadows, figure out how you can own them, look for the positive in those, and then start laughing at them is basically how that works. And I'm actually, on a side note, I was chatting to somebody yesterday about the what I was wearing. And you'll notice today I'm back in one of my signature unicorn tees. So yesterday I wanted to demonstrate that the presentation and the look was something that I was told I should do. Should be dressed up, hair done, makeup, look professional. And, you know, one lady was like, it didn't feel like you. And being able to step up and be yourself and be authentic is about being you. So I am unicorn tees. I am fun. I like a bit of makeup here and there. But it's not something that I feel the need to do every day. So that was something that was mentioned yesterday. And we're going to Teresa and I are also at 10 o'clock on the This Chick Means Business Facebook page. We're going to go live because for a lot of women right now, and a lot of men as well, there's a change really happening. And a lot of people are probably not really understanding what's happening. There's this huge speed of growth cycle happening. And I know that I've been moving forward through a lot of things quite quickly. And even doing this challenge was a bit of a step from where I was a couple of months ago. And we want to share with you the speed of growth cycle, what that means for you. And we want to talk about the empowered pause. So if you're free in 35 minutes, jump over to the This Chick Means Business Facebook page and we shall talk about the speed of growth cycle. For those of you that are into your energy sort of things, you will need to hear this. You really want to hear this because too many people are feeling stuck and held back because of the rules of business. So we don't like rules. Rules out the window. But that's it for now. Thanks for all your comments and support. Oh, thank you, Terry. Terry and I went to primary school together. And any questions you can still post on here. If you're in the group, join the group. And I will see you same time tomorrow for day 3. And I'm just stopping the live on the other page. So bear with me. That's done on my profile. And yeah, I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with, especially around the shadow values. Embrace the shadow value. Now there is something. Here we go. I can end it now. Bye. End.